I was talking to a retired Air Force colonel the other day, and one of the things he talked about was what could have been. He remembers trying to start a Christian club in his school as a teenager, and it failed, but he didn't have any support. And he wants to support those high school students so that they don't fail, bringing Jesus to their... Forget the former things. Do not dwell in the past. I am doing a new thing. He's taking us as adults and doing a new thing in the lives of these students.
Working with the local church to take the hope of Christ to every student in the United States. This is First Priority. Now here are your hosts, Steve Cherico and Brad Skelling.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the First Priority of America podcast. I am glad that you are here today. We're going to stick with the theme that we had last week and talk about the fall, but this time I'm going to talk specifically about the fall conference. And I am super excited this year. I'm always excited. Don't get me wrong. I'm always excited about the fall conference because I get to see all of my best friends all in the same room, all at the same time. And it is always a good time to be in a room with 60 or so people who are all have the passion to take the hope of Christ to every student. There's nothing like it anywhere else in the world. To be at the First Priority conference each and every fall. This year, I am super excited because we have a theme about all things new. And we're picking that because it's new again to be at the location of Fort Worth. We are launching First Priority this fall again for the second time in Fort Worth, Texas, through our First Priority district. Will Sherman, Matt Armendariz are out there already. We're working on hiring another person to start, and I am super excited to have the fall conference there with that team to train our directors from there around the country and hopefully to do a vision casting that Tuesday night for Fort Worth. Number one, to cast vision for Fort Worth, but number two, to talk about how to cast vision with First Priority leadership around the country. So it's going to be a great time. You can see why I'm excited about it. But I wanted to go over our theme verse with you, Isaiah 43, 18 and 19. Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a new way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. Now when you think of that verse and you think about the all things new, it's kind of logical. But that first part, verse 18, forget the former things, do not dwell on the past, kind of has that negative connotation to it, which when you think about it, yeah, First Priority was in Fort Worth. It's not. We have to launch it again. You know, what could have been is a question that I ask. Are we too late is another question that I ask. And let me tell you a little bit about my story with First Priority. I started as a campus coach in 2001 in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Mark Chase invited me to lunch. We sat in a booth in Subway. It's one of those moments in life where you just remember it. I remember the booth that we were sitting in. I remember the conversation. His mannerisms, even talking a little bit, using his hand motions, and just talking about the 30 schools in the greater Sioux Falls area that they needed to cover and how he needed people to help coach those students to lead a club. And he wanted to give me 6 months. I'm like, I don't need 6 months to do this. I'd been in youth ministry. I was at a church for 3 years, kind of worked by myself. And the idea of collaborating with a group of youth pastors, that there was a network in town, and we could all divide and conquer and go make an impact in the schools. I was bought hook, line, and sinker, as they say. But it also reminds me what could have been, we're too late. I was talking to a retired Air Force colonel the other day. He's on a board for a First Priority chapter. We were just talking through what the potential is, what the possibilities are. And one of the things he talked about was what could have been. He remembers trying to start a Christian club in his school as a teenager, and it failed, but he didn't have any support. And the thing he said, the reason he is a part of First Priority now is because he wants to support those high school students so that they don't fail, bringing Jesus to their school. And it just impacted me again, and it brought me back to this verse with the thing, forget the former things, do not dwell in the past. I am doing a new thing. He's taking us as adults and doing a new thing in the lives of these students. Today, that Air Force colonel is concerned with the 15 clubs that they have now and the many more that they could be in. They matter to him and they matter to me. And so, are we too late? No. we're not too late. We can't go back and change the past, but we can use that past. That colonel can use what happened to him, that failure in his past, to not just impact one school and not just even impact 15, but maybe 25 or 50 schools. We haven't defined that area yet, but what would it look like to help students in his region reach? Are we too late? No, we're not too late. God is doing a new thing. Verse 19, you see, I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. And if I continue to read, the wild animals honor me, the jackals and the owls, because I provide water in the wilderness, the streams in the wasteland, to give a drink to my people, my chosen, the people I formed for myself, that they may proclaim my praise. And this is where it gets a little interesting. Yet you have not called on me, Jacob. You have not wearied yourself for me, Israel. You have not brought me sheep for burnt offerings, nor honored me with your sacrifices. I have not burned you with grain offerings, nor wearied you with demands for incense. And it just reminds me of where we are at right now in our society. Again, what could have been? Are we too late? Could First Priority have changed a generation in the 80s and 90s and 2000s? Yes, they could have. But are we too late? No, because God is bringing that fresh wind. That description there, America isn't repentant. It's not a repentant nation. Even a lot of the Christians and a lot of the religion and the issues that are out there, we forget about the people. But God wants to do a new thing. He wants us to go into the schools and to love students and to share hope with them. And we want to have a growing desire to renew this generation. Again, that's why I love this First Priority conference. It's a group of leaders recognizing the spiritual solution. That this isn't a bullying problem. It's not a drug problem. It's not a drinking and driving problem. It's not all those things. It's a spiritual problem. People are looking for hope. They're looking for love in all the wrong places. And in the midst of Judah sinning, in the midst of Judah and Jacob not coming back to God, God said, I am doing a new thing. And I believe that's the mantra that we are proclaiming here. God is doing a new thing for First Party of America. We are hiring people in these new districts. God is bringing business people to our board. He's laying a solid foundation for us to launch new all over the country. And I'm super excited about what's happening. It's a huge amount of work, but it is rewarding and fulfilling and amazing work that we get to do because God is doing a new thing in First Priority, and I believe he's going to do a new thing in this generation. Psalm 78. It is one of the verses that I love because it helps me to stay focused. I will open my mouth with a parable. I will utter hidden things from of old. Things we have heard and known, things our ancestors have told us. We will not hide them from their descendants. We will tell the next generation the praiseworthy deeds of the Lord, his power, and the wonders he has done, so the next generation would know them, even the children yet to be born, and they in turn would tell their children. Then they would put their trust in God and would not forget his deeds, but would keep his commands. We tell the next generation, even those not yet born, our children, the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren that are coming behind us. We tell them the praiseworthy deeds of the Lord, and they will put their trust in God. It's not about the issues. It's not about the agenda. It's not about politics. It's about the God that we love, the God that loves us, and the God that we serve. Can we tell the praiseworthy deeds of the Lord to this generation? Yes, we can. And God is doing a new thing. That is where we are at with First Priority, declaring the praiseworthy deeds of the Lord to this generation today. First Priority clubs were started in Fort Worth, Texas in 1985. We're bringing that back. 189 schools, 184 schools in Fort Worth, Tarrant County, Texas. And we're going to launch in at least 30 of them this fall. By the time fall conference rolls around, with those 30 clubs through their first cycle, we should be seeing the first fruits of their labor, of what God is doing in there. And we want to celebrate that in the vision casting and a celebration of what God is doing in our midst. And there is a new moment here for the people of God, a new spiritual opportunity, an opportunity to tell the students of God's love for them. God is doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? He is making a way in the wilderness. I am super excited about what is happening for the fall conference. Registration is not out yet. Registration will be coming here in the next month, July, I believe. registration will open. I encourage you to sign up for that conference, be a part of what God is going to do and God is doing. Obviously, if you're listening to this, you're already part of what God is doing. But to be a part of this fall conference, October 24, 25, and 26 are those dates. We start on Monday night, we go to Wednesday at noon, and we're just going to celebrate. We've got a special event for board coming in on Sunday afternoon. If you're a part of a local board like that Colonel is, with a First Priority chapter, our board of directors is going to invite you in Sunday night for a social setting, and then our board is going to meet Monday morning. They have two meetings a year where they meet in person, and they're going to hold a meeting Monday morning, and they want board members from the local chapters around the country to sit in on their board meetings. So they want to build a relationship with you and have you sit in on a meeting to hear about what God is doing and the decisions they're making and where God is leading First Priority of America, just for inspiration, encouragement, and relationship. So if you're a part of a board and you're a director for one of those chapters, come in on Sunday night and be a part of that. If you're not, invite those board members into that meeting. But everybody come Monday night, October 24, Fort Worth, Texas. firstpriority.club/events is where that is at, and you can get more information there. Once the registration opens up, we will be posting that on our social media platforms. So give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at FP of America, whichever platform you are on. And we'd love to be a part of that. So it's kind of a short podcast today, but I wanted to share our heart for that. The fall conference team is working diligently to put details together because October is not far away. And so we are looking forward to seeing you there. And again, as you're praying, as you're seeking the Lord for what He has for this coming school year, pray over Isaiah 43, 18 and 19, because God is doing a new thing in our midst. We claim that promise, and we are humbled by the opportunity to be used by God to redeem His creation and to reach a generation. So thank you for listening. Thanks for the 5-star review. Thanks for sharing this with your friends and fellow First Priority leaders. And until next week, we'll see you later.